Both are cool and good.
She peters on my Parker. Definitely the last time I'm gonna have any tequila. There is one spirit that I just hate more than all. Well, we're talking about alcohol, of course, not ghosts. There are many ghosts I hate most of all.
Incorrect. There's only one ghost that is worth hating.
Obligatory, it's the Holy Ghost. Haha, Dan hates religion. Anyway, moving on to the next.
It's Moaning Myrtle, because Moaning Myrtle's a pervert.
No, you know what? No, she fucking is.
She's a fucking pervert.
We had a game plan, but
we
do need to derail lightly real quick. Obviously, in returning to Harry Potter, there are many things that didn't age well.
Of course.
You know, like Rita Skeeter with her big mannish hands, and it's like, oh no. Mm-hmm. Rita's supposed to be trans, but in a bad way. That sucks.
That's good.
It's like, okay, this is fine. This is fine.
It's not fine. Let's be clear.
No, let me rephrase. It's one of those things where it's like, okay, I guess I understand that from J.K. Rowling, the transphobic sack of shit. I'm gonna see some transphobic things in a reread of these books. Correct. Okay, blows, but okay. But then you get to Moaning Myrtle, and it's like, hey, J.K., you're afraid of men invading women's spaces, and then Moaning Myrtle is literally just like a peeping Tom that lives in a toilet. Mm-hmm. And this is not a problem.
This is not a thing
this is normal,
everyone's upset about.
But yeah, you know, a lot of things about these fucking books just, like, yeah, we've talked about the Gringotts goblins being anti-Semitic, and that just being made worse in the movies. Correct. And that is bad.
That is very
Rita
bad.
Skeeter is a transphobic stereotype, and that is bad.
Half of the names are stereotypes.
Cho Chang. That is not a name. That is not a name.
What is the Irish one?
Seamus Finnegan.
Seamus Finnegan, yeah.
Who in the movies they were like, what if we made the Irish kid blow everything up?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, there are many things that you can point at in Harry Potter and say, hey, that's not great.
That's not ideal.
But by Rowling's own fucking rules, Moaning Myrtle should not be this funny comic relief character who's lovably horny.
No.
She should actually be like an actual like despised character.
She's the fucking like anime stereotype of like, haha, comedically horny, gross, like small man.
Yeah.
That's what she is. Holy shit. I did not put that, which is also icky, by the way. We're not going to get into that, but that is an also disgusting stereotype. And the fact that it still exists in the year of our Lord, 2023, is insane. Yeah, that's what she is.
I will say there are not as many as I think. I think you're aware of many of them. The stereotype is generally phasing out. It's nowhere near as bad as it used to be.
As it should be. Like, to be clear.
Chainsaw Man does have it, though.
I was going to say, that's what I was literally thinking of, is Chainsaw Man.
Anyway, though. So to pull us back into more fun things, well, not for me, not fun things for me. I asked Dan last night. This is partially fun for me. Okay, last night was, as of recording, was day 2 of WrestleMania, and after my wife's okay. Dan, I need you to understand how big a deal.
Are we putting Nina on blast?
I'm putting Nina on blast. All right.
Is it for the thing that you tweeted about? Because it's very funny.
About Rhea Ripley making Nina into a gay little puddle?
Correct. Yeah. Good. Okay.
So here's the thing.
I'm glad.
We went to hang out with Carly, friend of the podcast. Hi, Carly.
Hi, Carly.
Everyone say hi.
Hope you're doing well.
I said everyone say hi. Come on, I know you're all listening. You better say hi to Carly. I'm
not
talking
say hi
to you,
Carly,
Dan. You said hi.
Your
mom's
bigot.
a hoe.
Okay.
I don't think you're a bigot.
I didn't know where I was going with that, and we were talking about J.K. Rowling, and the word was in my brain.
You're just like, where do I go from here?
Where do I go wrong?
You know, this dude I follow on Twitter posted a thread of just Rhea Ripley shit. I'm having a blast pointing it at Nina. And Carly, friend of the podcast, says, hey, I'm going to watch WrestleMania Day 2 tomorrow. Y'all want to join? So we went over, we watched WrestleMania Day 1 just for Ripley's match. And Nina was actively working on an art piece to not watch the TV the whole time because, and here's where I put Nina on blast, because the rest of this was just relaying things I've already publicly said. Nina said, and then backpedaled real hard to put a big however. Nina said Rhea Ripley is the most attracted they've ever been to anyone outside of me ever, flat out, period.
Why do I feel like it didn't immediately start as outside of you?
Well, would you like to guess where that big however came?
I mean, okay, to be totally fair to Nina, I feel like anyone who's seen a lot of Nina's work knows that Nina does in fact have a type, and Ripley does in fact fill like to a
big
T,
buff woman
to a fucking like that, like you could have ripped that out of Nina's like art. And
literally,
it wouldn't have been
one of the things Nina said was, when I first wrote my book and I created Quincy, the main character, who is a strong woman.
Literally and figuratively.
And in the second and third book, there is a character named Mariska, who is also a stronger woman. Visibly stronger, in fact. Nina's like, I didn't really know who Rhea Ripley was then. But in hindsight, damn. Same person.
It's really funny.
It's really funny.
It's really good.
So, just a little bit of blasting Nina here on main. We're lightly blasting Nina. I don't remember why I was talking about this. I think it was, because we had to delay recording. It was going to be last night, but I was neck deep in WrestleMania. What a good time.
I almost had a chance to go to that before I lost my job. Very sad.
That is so sad.
It is actually very sad. I wasn't going to go because financially wasn't a good idea, but...
No, right.
But I had the opportunity and then did no longer have the opportunity, which is sad.
It's in Philly next year. I'm gonna float it to you, Dan. What if we hypothetically... We didn't go because I did check tickets and they're like $500 for shit seats.
Yeah, I'd go to WrestleMania, absolutely.
What if we all got together and watched WrestleMania together? What if we kissed watching WrestleMania?
JK, unless
I'm just throwing it out there. The Super Bowl fell through, but WrestleMania is forever.
I'll be honest, I don't have a lot of
wrestling knowledge.
Not even that.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't give a shit about WrestleMania really. I don't give a shit about wrestling in general. Not in like it's all fake, but it's not something.
I'm not gonna lie to you. It's so much easier to sit down and watch that compared to watching football.
I believe
because watching football, I have a blast watching. Especially when there's someone telling me what it is. But wrestling, you just watch and it's like, and damn, that person just did a double backflip.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if something went right or wrong.
Exactly. You don't need, we were watching and fucking Edge versus Demon Finn. These words mean nothing to you, and that is okay.
I did wonder why Carly posted something about Edge last night, and now I understand who it was actually about, and that's very funny.
It's a wrestler who he threw a steel ladder into Finn's head and split it open.
God,
there was a pause of game while they gave him heavy numbing shit and stapled his head back together. So that they could finish the match.
Hell yeah, dude. Fuck yeah.
That's what I'm saying. This cool as hell.
No, that's rad as hell.
You don't need to care about wrestling to know that's cool as hell.
Nah, dude, that's rad as shit.
Anyway, but because of that, we had to delay the recording today. Today is a Monday. And you know what people do on Mondays sometimes?
They get shit-faced?
No, they work. Today was not my day off like it has been in the past. I had to work, but I like to call it a day off because it was an education day.
It's a day of rest.
I went in to the training academy and I sat down for 5 hours and I sampled hard liquor. It was my spirits training day 1 of 2. I'm doing another one next week, and today we covered vodka, gin, rum, and tequila. And Dan, I hate tequila.
As you should. Tequila is kind of icky.
And while I like dark rums, I don't like Bacardi. Makes me kind of sick, if we're being honest.
That makes you sad, actually, because I actually don't mind. I don't mind Bacardi.
Bacardi, I got sick on Bacardi once, and it's just never clicked again for me.
One of those things. Yep.
Yeah. Whereas vodka, I've moved past that because I'm sampling this, and I'm like, oh yeah, this tastes like vodka, but oh yeah, I guess I can pick out some of the tasting notes of vodka that I can get. I'm like, oh, listen, taste that. That's neat. I can in fact taste that.
Yeah.
Fun times and all. But we closed the day, and I love gin. I'm having a blast with the first half, but we close with Bacardi and tequila. And Bacardi put me on edge. But I'm like, I'm okay, because I spat it out. Because that's what I'm technically supposed to do. I'm not supposed to swallow anything because I'm at work, and I can't get you guys blasted at work.
Not with that attitude, you can't. Coward.
Well, many people just swallowed, and they were having fun. I know that I don't drink enough so that if I had actually had that, I would have been in a bad way.
Yeah, and I honestly, I respect you knowing your limits in that way.
I know my
healthy.
limits. The only stuff I would be happy to drink was on the front half of the thing, and we had this. Okay, actually, Dan, you do not like gin, right?
I really do not like gin. I want to like gin. I think it's because I think I've talked about it before, but I have an allergy to like fir trees, like anything with needles.
Yeah, because the scent is just a little bit like the scent and the flavor is like, I'm not allergic to this,
but my body doesn't like that I'm having it. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Your body's still like, wait a minute, we shouldn't like this.
Exactly.
I had this gin. It's a new Western style, called Wiggle. I think it's made in Pittsburgh.
It's called Wiggle. Okay.
It is called Wiggle, and this gin, the line is called Wiggle. It's Wiggle's gin. Wiggle has an absinthe. It has a couple of different whiskeys. It tastes like spearmint. It was a gin that tasted like Christmas, but in the totally opposite way gin usually tastes like Christmas.
Okay, then.
Where it's like I'm sipping on a Christmas tree. No, this was like, it was sweetened, and it tasted like spearmint, and I'm like, oh, I don't like that. I actually really don't care for that. And then after that, we started in on rum and tequila.
I'm just
giving you the journey of my day.
The logical progression.
We took a little bit of a break, came back, and the rum, I'm like, okay, not ideal. Then we get to tequila. And it's not cheap tequila. We're not sitting here drinking Jose, which is not even technically tequila. It is a Mixos, which is a subset of tequilas that is like, this is
legally we can't call this tequila.
No, legally they can call it tequila because it's made in Mexico and it's one of the technical options, but it's 51% agave, 49% other shit.
Gross.
Anything that you really want to put into it, really, as long as the 51% is still agave. Exactly. Bad times at the El Royale. And it's 1800. It's a decent brand.
Yeah,
it is.
I can get behind an 1800 every now and again.
Yeah, I believe anyone who has been on TikTok on the alcohol side for any length of time has seen at least 2 people smugly say the cheapest tequila you should ever drink is 1800. Even though 1800 is like the premium option for a great deal of people.
I was gonna say that's some big alcohol privilege there, Gaio.
Right? Like, yeah, sure, no one wants to be drinking tortilla, but like 1800, there's still like cheaper tequilas that are as good. Like your Hornitos aren't bad, your Espolon's not bad. But regardless, while I can say this and objectively say, yeah, these are okay, these are pretty decent, I hate tequila. I've tried like 10 different tequilas. I've tried nice tequilas. And if I have, like, someone bought me a shot of Patron with lime. And you know what? That was nice.
Yeah, quite nice.
But it's not because I like the Patron. It's because tequila and lime is a classic good times combination.
Correct.
Every other time I've had tequila, it's been with no lime and it's been room temp. And I'm like, ooh, not good. But the Patron was chilled with lime.
Yeah, which is honestly the only way I will drink tequila, just to be clear.
Covers a multitude of sins.
That's not true. I'll have a margarita every now and again, like a frozen marg, specifically.
Okay, yeah, no, a frozen margarita. I love a frozen margarita.
But tequila as a straight tequila, bad. Actually.
Straight tequila is not great for me. I didn't 1800 Blanco, 1800 Reposado, and 1800 Añejo. I did not have a good time.
I'm actually very sorry for you.
While I was able to spit those out, and I would have been fine because none of it hit my stomach. Unfortunately.
Oh no.
The very last thing we did was a food pairing. And he gives us another shot of the clear and the añejo. And he's like, here we go. You're going to try this paired with an orange dark chocolate, a plain dark chocolate, a mint dark chocolate, and a white chocolate.
And you had to drink it.
Well, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to spit chocolate spit into my spit cup because it's already like...
Ick.
It's already kind of weird to be in a room full of people like spitting into a cup. It just like feels weird.
No, I get that. I actually respect the weird feeling that gives.
Yeah, no, I didn't care for it. So I'm swallowing this tequila with the smallest mouthfuls I can because I'm like, this is not a good time. But I'm not going to lie. The pairings were good. Chocolate and orange and the clear tequila, very pleasant. White chocolate and clear tequila, I can't explain this to you in any specific way that actually sounds right or makes sense. But white chocolate already had like a tequila essence about it when I cracked it open, the wrapped chocolate to give it a sniff. I'm like, oh, this almost smells like tequila. I'm sure that's just because this room has a lot of tequila in it.
Oh no, buddy.
But it paired well with it because it covered the taste. Completely, in fact. It was a very nice pairing for me.
Fair
and
enough.
The orange was just like, orange is a citrus. Citrus and tequila. Good together.
Citrus and tequila work. Yeah. Classic.
But this means that I swallowed maybe, and I mean maybe, and I need you to not laugh at me because this is embarrassing, but maybe a half shot of tequila.
I'm holding it together.
And we end class, and I'm on my way home, and I'm like eating the leftover chocolate I was given because I'm like, I need to settle my stomach. This feels like trash. I'm in the car feeling sick. I get home, and I'm like, I still feel awful. And I had already texted you saying, hey, I'm going to be a little bit late to recording. I need to make something to eat. I finally got like just some bread in my stomach, and I feel fine now. But no amount of chocolate and water was going to stop the tequila from making me feel like I was going to die.
It's really funny, bud.
Oh man, I've like, last time I went out drinking at a bar, I went and I'm like, all right, they have 2 different tequilas up there. I'm going to try them both just to do it, just to be like, I want to know, do I like it? And I did not, but that meant that I had 2 shots of tequila, and those sat with me so much better. And I don't know what happened. It's probably because I also had mozzarella sticks.
Yeah.
Fried bar food that'll settle your stomach.
Correct. Yeah. Classic.
But all of these words to say, I can't stand tequila. I hate tequila. Fuck man, I fucking hate tequila. No shade if you like tequila.
No,
because
like
that's
what
fine.
you like. Live your best life.
Legitimately, I don't care. But this is definitely the last time I'm gonna have any tequila.
If you can at all possibly help it.
There is no way that I would need to have tequila again.
True.
Actually, no. Okay,
I was
there's
gonna say, unless
one
it's another tasting.
single situation. I haven't had a mezcal yet.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, I get that.
And I'm interested
enough to
because
give
the
it a shot.
mezcal actually smelled good that I smelled.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the mezcal I smelled was almost 20 years old and had a scorpion floating in it.
Hell yeah, dude.
So
That's
who
rad.
knows?
That's
Who
rad.
knows anything about that?
So I also don't like tequila. I do love that there's a tendency for like good tequila and only tequila. Let's be clear. This is a tequila exclusive to have just fucking like weird fucking shit in it. Like
Okay, here's the
scorpions
thing.
and shit.
We talked about that. It is not good tequila that does that. It is gimmick. And it's not tequila. It's gimmick mezcal does that, but they've marketed it in such a way that some people are like, it's not real tequila without the worm, even though tequila doesn't ever have the worm. And then the scorpion thing, it's a mezcal called Scorpion Mezcal. So they have a scorpion in it.
So they have a scorpion on it.
Which, yeah, no, I don't know. Fun, weird, sick as hell.
There's
just
all those
a scorpion
things.
Vibing, a little scorpion too, which means
He's
that
just a little
actually
guy.
like, it's actually kind of like venomous.
Hell yeah. I love it. I now know, I guess, that it's a gimmick, but I do love it a lot. That is objectively pretty sick.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we live. We got to live with the fact that that's pretty sick. Sick as hell, actually.
It's a cool little concept.
Sometimes gimmicks, not always bad.
So, but that's my my last couple days in the world of alcohol, and by last couple days I mean I got out of that class 45 minutes ago.
Is that done then? You're done with it?
That's all I got. I had a beer yesterday, and I'm like, hell yeah, I love Yingling. Like I don't know what else to say, man. I'm here drinking because I had 2 beers yesterday, and then I had all this shit today. It's more than I usually drink.
Yeah, in a while.
And yeah, because I don't know, I'll have a beer with some bourbon in it when we do pirate stuff, and that's fun.
As you should.
I enjoy it because this one bourbon I have actually pairs well with Yingling because it's a very sweet bourbon. I'll have you try it someday.
I was gonna say, you gotta hook me up at some point.
Because I feel like since you liked the Basil Hayden rye.
I fucking love rye whiskey.
And I'm going to go out on a limb and say maybe the sweetness also was like a factor in that. Like
I'm
the
sure
sweet
it was.
smoothness.
I'm sure it was.
You know what? I'll just tell you what it is. It's the Old Forester 100 proof. I got it for less than $30. Yeah, I know, but I'm telling you so that you can look it up someday if you wanted to.
I will message me because I will forget.
But yeah, Old Forester 100 proof. It's actually quite nice. Jeff can back me up on this one. Jeff pogging off in the chat right now, going OMG. I was mentioned on the podcast.
Jeff is notorious for being a
Jeff notorious for pogging off in the chat.
Yeah. No, Jeff. We all know Jeff loves to pog off in chat. Actually, no one else, not a single other other
No
friend
one
of
else
the
has ever
podcast
pogged off in the
has ever
chat.
pogged off in chat. Not even one, frankly. And honestly,
Mari
I'm
joining
disappointed.
the server just to pog off about food, not technically pogging off
Correct,
in the chat.
doesn't count.
Jackson pogging off about the new Wes Anderson movie. I think. I don't actually know if that's what that was.
It kind of seemed like that's where it was headed.
But then everyone aggressively no-sold him on Wes Anderson, and he's like, "Oh, fine
he's
then."
good. I don't have opinions about him.
Yeah.
Listen, I like Wes Anderson. I want that to be clear. I enjoy me some Wes Anderson. I also like. I don't know. I don't watch that many of his movies because they're a little on the artsy side as far as like taking himself a little bit too seriously. I feel like, in my personal opinion. Or maybe it's just the fans that have made me have that perception of him, which is also extremely valid.
I mean, from everything I've seen, and I don't think I've watched through more than a single Wes Anderson movie, and I couldn't even tell you.
Yeah.
But like every single image I've seen from his movies, it's like, oh, cool. Every frame is a work of art situation.
No, he is.
He's a man who is going to live and die by the aesthetic.
Yeah.
And I respect that. A man who really commits to an aesthetic film, more power to him. I do think that it's probably, and this is wild, this is like comparing apples to pile of shit, but it's kind of like how Star Wars fans ruin Star Wars because of the way they are.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No,
I feel
100%.
like Wes Anderson fans probably take elements of what he does more seriously than he does, because while he definitely takes it seriously.
Of course. No, you're
not going to see Wes Anderson tell me that I'm stupid for not liking the movie for any reason at all.
Exactly, because Wes Anderson presumably isn't a huge asshole about movies.
Wes Anderson, I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna say it. To me, he's not even real. He's not even real. I've never met the man. I will never meet the man. Yeah, no, it's called a callback. It doesn't matter to me because I'm never gonna see his ass.
Here's the thing. I hope that one day he's real to me. You know, it's one of those kind of situations.
Honestly, if I don't even know what he looks like, so I could have met this man. Like I could play poker with him every Tuesday, and if no one had said his name, I wouldn't even know.
Yeah,
like I couldn't pick him out of a lineup of aesthetic directors.
Same,
but it would be so funny if somehow, like, it's one of those, like, it's a Nardwuar situation where, like, I'm, like, spending time with him, and then someone comes up and said, do you remember back in 2013 when you said that you would never meet Wes Anderson and you didn't even act like he was a real person? Then I just have to sit here and be like, yeah, man.
It'd be real funny.
You know what? Because this would happen when I'm, like, 50 or something. I'd be like, yeah, man, I was 30. What do you want from me?
I do like the idea that just the older you get, the more that, like, yeah, I was whatever. What do you want from me? Gets pushed back. It's very funny and also, like, dude, appropriate, to be clear. But
literally, I was just thinking, I'm like, oh man, no, that's way too late for me to just try and brush it off.
No. You brush that shit.
Me at age 53. What do you want, man? I was 50.
Yeah, because you're growing and evolving as a human being, and that's good. You should do that.
And honestly, part of growing and evolving is just getting to experience fun new things, you know, like
Wes Anderson as a person.
Yeah, having fun with my good personal friend Wester Anderson.
We just call him Wes.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird if you call him Wester. That's what his mom calls him.
Wester Anderson. Wester, what kind of fucking name is that?
Made you sound like the mom version of Agent Smith. Wester Anderson.
Man, I had a thing I was gonna say, and some experiences are a lot easier to achieve, like having the best cider you've ever had. But then I said Wester Anderson. Dan, you had a good cider. Why don't you tell me about this good cider?
So I've talked about Down East a couple of times on the podcast because it is my favorite cider company. Shout out to all my friends who are in Boston and can go to the actual brewery, and I can't. And I'm very mad about it. But yeah, they came out with a new edition. So they do, as I think a lot of cider companies do, and actually quite a few beer breweries as well. They came out with a new, like, spring cider, like their spring cider collection, whatever. Their new one for the year of our Lord 2023 spring is pomegranate. And Noah, I'm tempted to just go buy up like 17 cases of this shit. Here, hold on. Let's see if I can get a little. That was a good hiss. God damn.
That was a good hiss.
That was a really good hiss. Holy shit. Let's see. Hold on. Let me give me 1 second. I'm gonna do a little. I'm gonna pretend like I'm you for a second. Hold on. Let it roll around in the mouth a little bit.
That's what I did today with tequila.
Exactly.
Right before I died.
It's super sweet because I tend to like really sweet ciders, but it doesn't have like a sugar. It's not sweet sugary. It's sweet like sweet fruit, like tart sweet, if that makes sense. I don't know what like the right word for that would be.
Mm-hmm.
It's got like
sweet, but it has like, I mean, tartness and sweetness do coincide really nicely.
They do, and it's got like this really nice like kind of back of your mouth like pomegranate. Well, like so, I would almost put it in like kind of a like cherry, but not artificial cherry kind of aftertaste, if that makes sense. Like real like fresh cherries have this really nice like sweet and tart thing going on at the same time, and then has this really nice aftertaste afterwards. And that's kind of what it's giving, but it's giving it in a like under a layer of pomegranate. And it's super light, super refreshing. Generally just a huge fucking fan. Honestly, absolutely loving it. We bought some like 3 days ago.
Nice.
And I've gone through 3 so far because I won't let myself have more than one a night.
That honestly, you really gotta, when you find something that good, you have to implement the most obnoxious, like,
I gotta be so careful, dude.
Limiting on it. It's
so bad because if I don't, it will all be gone tonight. And that's the world I live in now. Is I live in a world of holding on to it as long as I can, like that fucking Batman fucking comic panel. No, it's super good. I've also had Angry Orchard also came out with a new one that was apple pie as part of their spring edition. Also good, not as good. Very nutmeggy in like a way that I don't mind, but I could see it being a problem for some people. I know that Angry Orchard and Down East are like what'd you say, apples and piles of shit? Like that, I get that, but
no, I mean, Angry Orchard isn't bad though. It's like honestly, basic. I haven't had I'll go basic. I haven't had a bad cider yet.
I've
had ones that I don't like as much, but I don't have a bad one.
I've never had one that I'm like, dang, I just dislike this, like out of principle. But I've definitely had ones that I'm like, this is not my favorite thing. I wish that I had gotten something else.
I had what is it? Woodchuck. You ever had a Woodchuck amber cider?
I have not, in fact, had a Woodchuck amber cider. Do tell.
They're good as hell. Honestly, they're very appley. Like I cannot convey how appley these ciders are. They're sweet and accessible.
I like that.
I think you'd be able to get your hands on them because I can't imagine that they're not super widely distributed. Let's see. I'm gonna press the find it button on their website and then put in Dan's house.
Dan's house.
Damn, it didn't turn up anything.
In the
so
middle
I wish you
of
luck.
Dan Street. Dan's house. I know it's gonna be stuck in my head the rest of the day, and I'm not particularly happy about it, if I'm being honest.
Honestly, I really am impressed though at the level of happiness you've managed to get out of the Down East brand so far.
Oh my god, I have not had a single one of theirs that I was like truly unhappy with. I've had ones that I was like, it was okay. I've never had one that I'm like, wow, this is something I don't like. And that's rare. I feel like it's hard to find a brand that I can like support so vehemently without without any hint of like, nah, it's only okay. No, it's fucking great. Everything about it's great. I want more of it. I wish I had access to more of it. Deeply upsetting that I do not, in fact. But that's, it's fine. I suffer for the art,
as you do, of course.
Speaking of art, you know what my favorite piece of art is, Noah?
What's your favorite piece of art?
Spider-Man movies.
Oh, couldn't disagree more. That's probably my least favorite art, if we're being honest. My really favorite art
I actually think
is probably the Mona Lisa.
Weak, frankly. Honestly,
no. Honestly, I agree.
What a terrible take. I know it's even as a bit, that's such a bad take.
It's literally the only art piece's name that I could remember. Like, yeah, obviously now that I said it out loud, I've got Starry Night. I've got
Starry Night is actually one of my favorite pieces of actual
something
art.
else. I don't know the names of many art pieces. I recognize visually very many things, but I know artist names. I don't know anything that they did.
If I'm not mistaken, let me double check this. Yeah, I think I've told you, Noah. I think I actually know I told you about it because I talked about it when we went. But if you ever come up here, we'll go to the MoMA and you can go see Starry Night, like the actual original one, which is rad as shit. It's here in New York.
I love shit like that,
dude.
I love getting to see, because that was the coolest thing, honestly, about going to PAX when we went, was the fact that I got to see. It was a different Van Gogh, I believe.
I think you're right. Let me look. Hold on.
Either that or there was, because it was, God, dude, it was like 4 years ago now.
What was it?
But,
Boston Museum of Art? Museum of Fine Arts?
I have no idea. Doesn't matter because regardless, part of the good part about seeing that shit is getting to like, because you can look at a picture of it all day and say, I could actually appreciate the art from just an image. Why would I need to see it in person? We should just burn the entire painting, which to that I would say, are you a fucking psycho?
Yeah.
But also, it is so weird to see because there's like, like the Mona Lisa. It's like, oh yeah, you can see brush strokes and everything, but it is a physically flatter painting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The Mona
Whereas
Lisa
a lot of these other guys,
I've seen the Mona Lisa. It is mid at best. Gotta be real.
No, it is a gorgeous piece. It is like a very well painted piece.
It's well painted, but it's fine.
The fact that, well, I mean, okay, get off your weird horse, okay? That's not the point.
Sorry, go on.
The point I'm trying to make is then you go into like see other things where you see like lumps of paint and you can see like these paintings have texture. They're not just a flat painting. Like there's body to this shit. There's like this painting took like 3 months to dry.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Also, that's insane to me that like certain paints, like oil paints,
they just take actually forever.
Like you could be waiting up to a year for some oil paintings to dry. Because but that's like the cool thing is you can work with them for so long, which is why your artist palette can literally just have paint on it fucking forever. It's such a anyway though. That's not
you go off. I love this.
No, that's about it. That's about all I had. You want to talk about Spider-Man, and I want to talk about Spider-Man. Y'all, this is the Spider-Man episode.
It's the Spider-Verse. Off the
I know
the Spider-Verse.
We're more than 25 minutes into this episode,
but it's a Spider-Man episode. I know you thought it was an alcohol episode. It isn't. Surprise.
Yeah, we just knew that we would never get to anything else if we opened with Spider-Man.
That is 100% what happened, yeah.
Or we would get to other things, but we wouldn't know what to talk about. Whereas we have a game plan for Spider-Man, and let me clue you into what it is. Spider-Man, Miles Morales. What do these 4 characters have in common? They all have fucking movies.
They're all Spider-Man. It's a little weird that you just called him Spider-Man and then Miles Morales. Like that, it should be.
I'm not gonna lie. There was
Peter Parker, Miles Morales. It was a little.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I forgot whether he went by Spider-Man or not. I could not remember.
It's pretty good. It's a good fucking reason.
What do these men all have in common? They're fucking Spider-Man, baby, and
they're all spiders, men.
We're taking it upon ourselves. And I'm brave to say it.
No.
We're gonna rank them.
We're gonna say which is the best. We're gonna decide which is definitively the best Spidersman.
The best Spidersman. So I think we're gonna open up. We'll start with the basics. All right.
Yeah, go for it.
Tom Holland, Andrew Garfield. Why is Miles' name not in this list? That's incredibly frustrating to me. Everyone else has their name, and because no one respects voice actors, he is not mentioned.
I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing it right. Shamik Moore is the Miles Morales voice actor for Spider-Verse. If I'm mispronouncing it, I'm sorry.
All right. Holland, Garfield, Moore, and Maguire.
Long ago, the 4 spiders lived together in harmony.
But then the men came.
Honestly, so classic men, TBH.
I would like us to just start with the Spiders men. And I'd like to talk about them alone, because obviously we have a new Miles Morales movie coming out soon.
Do we? Oh, well, yeah, we have Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, Into the Spider-Verse coming out.
Or no, Enter the Spider-Verse? What is it called?
Something the Spider-Verse. It's coming out this year.
The first one is
Across
Into
the universe.
The first one is Into the Spider-Verse. Second one is Across the Spider-Verse. Third one is Beyond the Spider-Verse. Because some people are dumb and don't know how to name things. Stupid.
Regardless, we got 4 Spiders men.
4 spiders,
and I'd like us to,
man.
before we get into the movies, I'd like to rank our Spiders men. And this is Miles is going to be excluded from half of this.
Because he's not in the live action at the moment.
No. He's going to be excluded from part of it, not because he's not in the live action, but because his name is not Peter Parker.
Okay. We're talking about whose is the best, which Peters is the best Parker.
Who is the best? Who Peters the best Parker? She Peter on my Parker till I'm Spider-Man?
You know what? I'll give it to you. It's not as good as I think Jackson would have come up with, but I like it.
If Jackson did it, he would just go She Peters on my Parker.
Yeah, and that would have been better.
Yeah. So that's honestly though, that's classic me overdoing the joke and missing the mark by just an inch and a half where I should have stopped already.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Non-derogatory, you missed the mark.
Derogatory, I missed the mark.
Derogatory, you missed the mark a little.
Let's talk, Dan. Let's talk.
I think it's important. I think it's important to say that while we are gonna in our ranking of the Spider-Man, we are gonna bring up Miles Morales in Spider-Verse. We are not gonna go into any of the television Spider-Mans or the video game Spider-Mans.
Only the feature film released Spider-Man.
Yes, although I'm pretty sure there is a Spider-Man that was animated that was not
I don't give a shit about him.
It doesn't count. TV Spider-Man, out of here.
We have 3 Maguires, 2 Garfields, 3 Hollands, 1
more. You should have started with 1 more and 1 more.
Fuck you.
Name pun.
Technically, we got a couple extras for our Holland because there's a 2 Avengers and 1 Captain America in there.
And technically, actually, if you want to, I guess spoilers for the latest Spider-Man live action movie.
Oh, it's 2 years old.
We technically do have 4 Maguires and 3 Garfields.
This is true, but we're not worrying about that at the moment.
We're simply talking purely Spider-Man movies.
No, we are talking, and right at this moment, purely Peter Parker.
Yes. Purely.
So I'd like to
Peter Parker.
I'd like to ask your opinion, Dan. Is Tom Holland a good Peter Parker?
I think so, actually. I think that so here's the thing that I think always comes up in these conversations, and I think it's important to have. I think it's really valuable, back and forth, is that there are in ranking the Spider-Man, you are ranking 2 things, right? You are ranking the Peter Parker and you are ranking the Spider-Man, which is what I think you were on your way towards. Because I do think that some people who do really good Spider-Man don't do the greatest Peter Parker, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm. I would agree.
I actually really like Tom Holland's Peter Parker. I think that because he is so young compared to the others, he brings a very I'm in high school and I am already having trouble with everything in life, and now also I'm Spider-Man. You know what I mean?
I'm not gonna lie. I really liked Homecoming.
I really enjoyed Homecoming. I think that he did a really good job. I think he's done a really good job in every as a Peter Parker. I like him more now that he's not Tony Stark pet project Peter Parker. I thought that was a really bad direction to take the character. I think it was really strongly uninspired. Agree.
Nina and I have talked about this a great deal of times, so I'm going to bring it to the podcast because I think I have before as well. My biggest issue with Tom Holland is that all of his villains are Tony's villains, and they're all classic Peter Parker villains.
Of course.
But for the MCU, every one of these villains is, I am mad at Tony Stark.
I'm going to take it out on this child.
And I'm going to take it out on the child that is Tony Stark's pet. Well, I mean, they don't know he's a child, in fairness. They think they're beating a consenting adult sometimes.
They think they're beating a
Not
man,
Mysterio. He knows he's beating a child.
He knows he's going to kill a child, which...
He fucking doxed that man on live TV.
We don't have time to unpack the fact that man was okay with killing a child.
He was a hero, actually, so he wasn't. It was Spider-Man who was the real villain, J. Jonah Jameson voice.
Man, we should talk about the Jane Jonas Jameson at some point too, because God, fuck it.
You ever seen a man who made a character so his own that no one can replace him?
Well, that's the thing, is that Sam Jackson's Nick Fury, actually.
Actually, no, yeah, he did completely transform him from being a guy who looked exactly like the Punisher, but with an eye patch,
to being,
which was such a dumb idea.
The worst.
To now he's getting his own, and now he's just his own guy. Yeah, more power to him.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about the show either.
It's not because of Sam Jackson. I got a lot of Marvel fatigue.
I do too. I
haven't watched anything since No Way Home. I'm not planning on watching anything.
I really want to watch Multiverse of Madness because I hear it's good, and I hear that people are mad about it for the reasons that I don't give a shit about. You know what I mean?
A lot of people now. Nina does not like Sam Raimi.
That's extremely valid.
As a general director, she doesn't enjoy his vision and how he is.
Extraordinarily fair.
And those are not exclusively the reasons that Nina hated Multiverse of Madness.
But Nina did hate Multiverse of Madness.
Nina did not care for it. And you know what? I think I probably would like it well enough. Because here's the thing. As much as I am so sick of Marvel movies, I have enough fun when I watch them. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I don't.
Oh, 100%.
But they're so fucking exhausting.
They're exhausting. And it really is I've now seen every Marvel movie. I'm done now. You know what I mean?
Also, if I have to hear one more actual child go on Twitter talking about how Martin Scorsese is like anything about Martin Scorsese, just shut up. You like they're talking about this perceived beef the man has with Marvel when all he's ever done is say, "Yeah, not for me."
Yeah, dude, that's beef. I feel like you don't understand what beef is.
So true. It's such beef. He personally said, "I will end Marvel," and you can quote me on that.
I killed Stan Lee, actually.
He killed Stan Lee, and he thinks Batman's cooler than Spider-Man, and that's a problem. He also said that Robert Downey Jr. gave a mid performance in the end of his Tony Stark career. But anyway,
I like it.
We're ranking Peter Parker.
No, we're ranking Peter Parker. I really like Tom Holland Peter Parker. I actually think that he is the second best Peter Parker, though.
So we have to put an asterisk in this list.
Yeah, what's up?
I have not seen one of these Peter Parkers, and I've not seen one of these Spider-Mans.
Was it Andrew Garfield?
It was,
because
when he first came out. Well, here's the issue, right? When he first came out, let me see this list of movies. He came out 5 years after Spider-Man 3.
Yep, too soon.
And it not only was it a little too soon, but it was a different time. There were still rumors that Tobey Maguire was going to come back.
Yeah.
Up until the Garfield movie came out.
Yeah, and it was a little bit of like, wow, because this movie got made, there was no chance of him coming back now.
Because there was not a franchise of this type. Now I'm gonna say this sentence, and someone's gonna be like, "The fuck are you talking about? That's not true." Actually, in Friday the 13th, they recast Jason 17 times. Yeah, okay, but you don't do that with your face character. You do that with the stuntman that plays Jason. They didn't get rid of Jason and replace Jason.
Yeah, it wasn't a different Jason.
We're not gonna get into that.
Shut up. Don't be that guy.
Like your Freddy Kruegers. It's one Freddy Krueger. They tried to remake. It did not go well because people don't really heavy iconic characters you can't replace. And a lot of people, because Tobey Maguire was the first huge production Spider-Man that really hit it. He was their guy.
Yeah. It was extremely fairly, to be honest. Like, I get it. I don't hold that against him at all.
Spider-Man 2, the literal like best superhero sequel, flat out period. Like a perfect follow-up. I can hear the silence. I can hear you like lightly disagreeing with me.
I lightly disagree, but that's only because I feel like they're like, I don't know. I can't think of a movie that I like more at this exact second, so I'm gonna let it slide.
That is fair, because I know there's probably one that I can think of more. Like actually here, Batman had been recast.
Yes.
We had a few Batmans at that point.
But that was the Batman.
And
that was DC. That was different.
Not only was it DC and it was different, but also it felt different every time there was a new Batman. There was a reboot, and there was like, it was a tonal shift, and there was a new director. It was a
totally different ballgame.
And here's the thing. Every Peter Parker has been the same, essentially.
Yeah.
But every Batman, TV iteration, has been like a little bit different. You have Batman Beyond, you have regular Batman, you have the other Batman. I don't know all the different Batman shows.
It doesn't matter.
But the Batman of the shows are very different. Whereas Spider-Man is a really consistent character. I'm talking out my ass. Fucking off the air, talking with authority on things we know nothing about.
No, I would agree though. I think that they're at least in the public casual, like, I almost think it doesn't matter if you're talking about your ass, because this is the public casual perception, right? We are not deep Spider-Man comic fans.
When The Amazing Spider-Man came out in 2012, having contempt for the idea of rebooting it, because I was like, we have Spider-Man. I don't need a new Spider-Man.
Yeah, no, 100%.
And I was a dumbass kid. I wasn't a kid, but fuck, man.
You're so old. Shit. You're so old,
anyway,
Noah. How old were you, Noah? How old were you?
19.
Yikes. Cringe.
Which is not as young as I could have been, but I saw Spider-Man 2 and 3 in theaters.
You were young enough not to know better. You're fine. I give you a pass. You were allowed to be a dumb kid,
Oh, thanks. I do appreciate that. Regardless, though, The most annoying people I knew said The Amazing Spider-Man was the best Spider-Man that had ever been made. And as a guy who hadn't seen it, but loved Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3, that was a slap in the face. I'm like, there's no way that The Amazing Spider-Man is better than Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3.
I get that. I get it.
And then Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out, and I'm like, wow, they're really still doing this guy, huh?
This fucking guy. I understand that. And actually, I would argue... So in your defense, right? The reason you probably stopped hearing about it after that was because Amazing Spider-Man 2 kind of sucked.
I believe it.
It's very
because
sad,
I heard the first one was good.
First one is,
and then I didn't hear anything about the second one.
We'll
and then they
recast
recast him within 2 years.
We'll circle back to it, but the Amazing Spider-Man 1 is my favorite iteration of Spider-Man outside of Spider-Verse. I
respect the hell out of that.
I'm also a huge fucking Andrew Garfield fanboy. I would watch that man do just about anything.
Fair enough.
Adore him. But no, I really, really like Amazing Spider-Man 1. And unfortunately, a lot of people gave him that treatment, the exact treatment that you're talking about. And not in like it's your fault, Noah, but like,
no, but
it
like,
was a very normal, what people thought. That's what the standard, that's what the idea was at that time. Unfortunately, like truly, truly unfortunately, it just is what it was. And there really wasn't, I can say it as much as I want. I was like, oh, but give him a chance, Noah. You don't understand. He's just a boy. But it kind of doesn't matter because it had already happened. You know what I mean? It already
happened.
Done.
And yeah, sure. I feel bad about it now, but like, what am I going to do?
You weren't in the wrong.
Am I going to go back in time and tell myself to watch the movie? No.
And nor should you, because frankly, it's fine, right? Like it's okay that those movies were kind of canned at the gate.
Times have changed, and it is really unfortunate because then rumors were rumbling that Spider-Man was going to come in Civil War 2 years after Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out.
True, and there was a lot of talk that, oh shit, is it going to be Andrew Garfield?
And then it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
And people immediately forgot about the Amazing Spider-Man. And for a lot of people, there are only 2 Spider-Men, with the exception of the diehard Andrew Garfield fan base.
Hello, it's me. I'm the diehard Andrew Garfield fan base.
And with that being said, Dan, Andrew Garfield, good Peter Parker or no?
I want to say he was a really good Peter Parker, but I'll be honest, I remember him for his Spider-Man more than I remember him for his Peter Parker.
As an outsider, that's what I remember hearing, was that he was a better Spider-Man than Tobey Maguire, but not a better Peter Parker.
And I think that maybe I'll amend my previous thing about Tom Holland being the second best, because I do think that like so here's a question for you, and I think this is relevant. In your mind, Spider-Man as a character, how old is he?
Spider-Man as a character is like 20-something for me.
Okay. In my mind, he is a teenager, which I think means, like, as I'm like processing through it, I do think Tom Holland is actually my favorite Peter Parker iteration, because he is a child in those movies.
Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3, when they came out, I got really into the concept of Spider-Man. I wasn't allowed to read the comics because some of the ones that I had found at the library were a little more adult than I was ready for at the time.
Yeah, valid.
And I didn't know how to find a more age-appropriate Spider-Man, so I got The Big Book of Spider-Man.
That's rad.
I'm sure you know exactly the Big Book of Spider-Man I'm talking
actually.
about. Oh, it was like a 2 foot tall by 1.5 foot wide book
dude.
That was just everything about Spider-Man and his villains. And major story arcs.
I love this.
So I have we had that for Spider-Man, for the Hulk, and for Superman, I want to say we had picked up from the library at like various points. And maybe Batman too. Probably Batman as well. I don't actually fully remember.
It feels like Batman should have been involved in that.
He probably should have been, and then we probably just didn't. Because I distinctly remember the other 3.
Classic.
Maybe that book had not existed yet. Or maybe my library didn't have it.
Or all the above.
But regardless, I learned so much about Spider-Man, and most of the Spider-Man story arcs do not contain him being a high schooler. No. Many of them moved on from that because they wanted to experience like Spider-Man romance and married Peter Parker trying to vibe with like trying to be married together. And being Spider-Man.
Poor Peter.
You know, and so for me, Spider-Man's always been like an adult character. Because I think in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, he's an adult.
He's an adult. He's a full-ass adult. He's in college, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of like maybe the key to where you think his age is, because in my mind, Spider-Man is definitely like Spider-Man is quintessentially on his way out of high school into college, which I do think they finally hit with the new, with the latest of the Tom Holland movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it ends, his high school career has just ended.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's memory is wiped, and he's on his way to college alone.
Yeah, which is God.
Conceptually sets him up to be a very lonely Spider-Man, and I'm ready and excited for that.
'Cause
I'm
he
gonna
kinda
watch
should
more Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
As long as they're not tied into the bullshit major story arc they're trying to do, that I do not care about.
They will be. I got bad news for you, buddy.
They will be, and as soon as they are, I'm not going to watch another one, and I'm just going to go back to Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3 again, because they're contained and I enjoy them. Eventually, I'll watch Amazing Spider-Man 1.
That's so valid. I think that is why I like so much Andrew Garfield, because Andrew Garfield, if I'm not mistaken, is at that age. He's on his way to college. I think that's like his whole arc, or he's just started college, or he's in the end of high school, some combination of that range. But that's also me personally when I started getting super into Spider-Man. So it also makes sense.
As you left high school and entered college.
Exactly. So of course that's the age I identify him with the most, because that's when Spider-Man was. That's when I was Spider-Man. I was the real Spider-Man they made along the way.
Meanwhile, while I connected with him as a child, I also connected with him with the knowledge that he's an adult.
Yeah, he's grown. He full ass adulting. And I think that's really interesting. I think that will color our kind of process going forward. But I think personally, all this to say, I think Andrew Garfield, Peter Parker, pretty good. Spider-Man though, best Spider-Man. Not even a contest.
Are you saying Andrew Garfield for you?
100%.
I respect that.
I think his Spider-Man is it nails because Andrew Garfield is a very expressive character. So have you seen any Andrew Garfield movies at all?
None. And I would love to at some point, but I never have.
So Andrew Garfield as a person, as best I can tell, is just an awkward dork. I think he's a very dorky, kind of lanky, his proportions aren't quite right person.
He do be like that.
And I think that because of that, he nails Spider-Man's he's got his act, he's what's the word? Acrobatic and athletic, but he is kind of lanky and awkward. He just is. But he also Andrew Garfield's acting as an actor is also extremely expressive, which is really important when you're dealing with a suit that doesn't have animated eyes, which I think is also part of Sam Raimi's, or not Sam Raimi. Sorry, Andrew. Hold on.
Tobey Maguire.
Thank you. Tobey Maguire's failing is that once he's behind the mask, he loses a lot of his acting because he can't.
He does.
He can't act. Through the mask.
His jaw doesn't even move.
Exactly, and I think that's unfortunately the reason that he is in my eyes the weakest of them. Is just he kind of wasn't given a fighting chance because there just wasn't anything they could do with that. They didn't have the technology. That said, all that to say, Noah, how do you feel about Tobey Maguire as
I gotta be honest. Not to sound like a local man's first Spider-Man is his favorite. But Dan, I gotta say, local man's first Spider-Man
is his favorite.
I think, not my favorite Spider-Man.
But your favorite Peter's Parker.
My favorite Peter is, and for the reasons I love him, Nina hates him. And it's because he's a fucking little bitch ass loser.
He is that. That is
Can we say
true.
it louder for the people in the back? Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker is a fucking loser that no one will ever love.
And which is very funny, to be honest with you.
And I liked that because I really think, because the characters around him care about him, and Tobey Maguire he plays a really good little weasel. He does
100%.
But what really worked for me is that his personal life is constantly falling apart. Everything about it, and anytime anything goes right for him, where MJ's no, we'll make it work.
It immediately gets
because of how he acts. because he's prioritizing being Spider-Man, it really works for me.
Yeah.
That he like is the way he is, you know, like it works for me.
Well, and I think that's kind of like that is, I will say that is like the one of the most quintessential pieces of being a Spider-Man, I think, is that like some of Spidey's problems are his own goddamn fault. In fact, I would go so far as to say most of Spidey's problems are his own goddamn fault, because he quite literally cannot not do the Spidering Man. You know what I mean? Like he just he can't help himself. He just can't help himself. He has to. I mean,
he fucking tries. You know, when he loses his powers in Spider-Man 2, blah blah blah. You know, he's on this arc of being like he tries to give it up. He's like, I'm done, but he's like, you know what? No, I can't give this up. I need to stick around and be here. And then in Spider-Man 3, even though that movie does suck ass, and I'm going to steal a talking point from Jeff here. Shout out to Jeff, pogging out in the chat for the mention.
Double pogs, rare.
Definitely not anger pogging, because I'm stealing a talking point. But everyone in the movies represent, or in the third movie represents something that he's struggling with, a failing of his, like something he has done wrong. The suit, like the Venom suit, is a literal example of what he's failed. And then everyone else is a metaphorical example, you know, Sandman and his relationships, well, I guess Harry's a literal example as well of a personal friend he has failed. But, you know, like, it all comes together.
Yeah.
And even though the movie sucks because the studio interfered with what could have been a tight little thing, you know, it still has its moments. It still has its charm. It still has its like core arc that kind of works.
Yeah.
And the movie ends well. It ends and it's like, you know what? Here we go.
He's back
a good trilogy ending. We all heard that we were going to get a fourth one, that most of the story from that got pulled into Amazing Spider-Man and done just fine. And probably better, because the Spider-Man trilogy, I think, was all Raimi had ever meant to make from it.
Yeah.
No. Well, maybe not, actually. I can't remember. I read some interviews, and regardless, best Spider-Man, on the other hand. Because we're getting a little on in time now since we started our main theme late.
Because we just started talking about Spider-Man, because crazy, I know this is going to be a shocker for everybody. No one really likes Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, it's, you know, world's most basic bitch loves Spider-Man and Batman. What?
Hard to believe. It could not be us.
But Spider-Man and Batman are two of my favorite heroes because they both really connect with normal people in a really interesting way. You know, both of them are people who just want to do everything they can to help people, which is a really good trait to have in your superhero. Yeah. Because otherwise, and honestly, Spider-Man should be there, but we keep getting edgelord fucking Zack Snyder making these dark, gritty Batman movie or Superman movies.
That's what you meant.
Where like Superman, yeah, that's what I meant to say. Superman should be a character I latch onto he just wants to help people. He's just an actual good guy, but too many people keep posing the what if Superman was bad, that I have currently been unable to get into him, because I'm like, damn, this is poison the well for me.
That sure is the exact opposite of it, the whole point of that character, huh?
It sucks, doesn't it?
That sure is. Damn,
the entire point is, what if a guy cared so much that it doesn't matter that this isn't where he's from, and he's going to fight to defend it anyway because he cares that much? And it's like, what if he actually cared too much and turned into a fascist? And it's like, well, he wouldn't, because he cares so much. Yeah. And it's like, no. But what if he was actually evil? And it's like,
I think that it was done great in Injustice the first time it was really done super well. And then it no longer was.
When it was a single one-off idea where they're like, what if this happened? That would be wild. Anyway, back to Superman.
Back to being a super's man. Well, I think part of the problem with that is also like it's a struggle. I know we're so off the fucking rails.
We're so off the rails. We're off the shits again.
off the air. I sleep. Off the air. I sleep. Off the shits. Real shit. It's because people don't know how to fucking write a character who doesn't have like.
I mean, shit, every superhero has had this. That's why each arc, people are like, you don't want to read these ones. Even if the art's good, like, people will be like, you can appreciate pictures of the art from these comics, but you want to read these people's Batman storylines, these writers, Spider-Man storylines, these, like, focus in, target who you're after.
Yeah, 100%.
But anyway, let's talk about our favorite Spiders-Man.
Favorite Spiders-Man. I mean,
wait. No, we need to rank all of our Peter Parkers. Our three Peter Parkers.
Our three Peters Parker. Number one for you is
for me is
I keep saying Sam Raimi
Maguire.
like that's his name.
Yeah, Sam Raimi.
My favorite
Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire.
I can respect
it's got to be Tugboat for me. He just really works as a guy who's overwhelmed, and the only thing he knows how to do is be a nice guy about it, and not understanding why. Like, we watch a whole ass movie where it keeps cutting away to him doing his "I'm a puppy and I just got kicked" voice, using his "I'm a puppy and I just got kicked" face, saying, I don't know, it's just so hard to be Spider-Man when all I want to do is be a normal guy and date Mary Jane.
Boo.
And but then he says those words, hears a hint of a siren and says, oh, well, time to be Spider-Man again. And he goes off and does that. And for that,
every time,
he's probably my favorite Peter Parker.
I think that's a super fair read. I think that as far as, I think I mentioned it before. Well, go down your list and then we'll switch back to mine. Let's do it that way.
My second Peter Parker, since I've not seen Garfield, I'm going to put Holland in that spot because I remember being pleased as hell in the first movie Holland did. When he's just like this punk ass kid who's just out here having a good time and is also Spider-Man. And he's like, whoa, look at all this. And he was a decent mouthy Spider-Man in addition to his like, I'm in high school Peter Parker persona. And I enjoyed that well enough. And then Garfield's at the bottom just because I don't know him.
I think it's super reasonable. I think as far as Peter Parker, I'm definitely going to put Tom Holland at the top because I do think that he is that childhood, like you kind of like what you said. He's just, I'm out here being Spider-Man. I think that Andrew Garfield does an amazing job of really playing into the I am so overwhelmed I don't know what I'm. He is. You know what he is? He's the fucking millennial version of Peter Parker. The I am so overwhelmed and everything is falling apart and all I can do is hold it together with my bare hands. And then there's Toby, who, while I don't have any bad feelings about, I don't connect with the same way that I do the other ones. And I think that is a completely reasonable take from both sides. I think that both are cool and good. As for the actual Spidersmen themselves,
and this is when we finally get to drag Miles into it because Miles, our current Miles, is our best Miles by default of being the only film Miles. Congratulations!
Congratulations to Miles.
Big applause! Big applause! Big applause!
Big shout out to my boy Miles.
We got Spider-Mans.
We got so many Spider-Man.
And I think our issue now is that while each Spider-Man has the same general arc of trying to balance his work and home life, I'm having a lot of issues getting Miles into this list again in my mind because I really enjoy him in the character arc we got in his movie, but
he doesn't really have
frankly a terrible Spider-Man in that movie. Well, and that's the point of the movie.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point. And I think that's what makes it so interesting is that like I do think we're gonna end up rating him pretty low just because like we'll circle to it. Let's start back at the top. So let's start at the newest. Tom Holland as a Spider-Man. I'm gonna be honest, I don't like.
I also am not a huge fan of Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
I think he is.
He started good.
I think he started good, and then he became, like we talked about,
Tony's bitch.
Tony's little bitch, baby.
Doesn't fucking work.
And he needs to just be his own. Like Peter's supposed to be so fucking smart, like so smart, like smart. One of the smartest characters in that universe.
He's smart enough in his solo movies.
Exactly.
Like he's smart enough in fucking No Way Home.
And then.
But then we have to have him be so stupid. It's so tiring.
It's really exhausting and honestly just really disappointing all around, if I'm being honest. It's just not fun. It's not interesting to me. I wouldn't go so far as to say it's actually just boring. His version of Spider-Man. Not that it's wrong by any stretch. Like it's fine.
No, but he is unfortunately boring. His suit is not compelling. His metal suit is ugly.
I like the one in I do like the one in No Way Home. I really do like the suit in No Way Home a lot. Just because I love the arms. I think the arms are cool as shit.
The arms are cool as shit, but I find the suit to be really boring. It is
valid.
Not fun for me. And honestly, if we're ranking suits, I really do love Garfield's suit.
Garfield's suit is so good.
I like the web on Maguire's more.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
But I love the amount of blue in Garfield's really works for me.
It really leans into the color palette for sure. No, basic Spider-Man movie suit, kind of bad actually. Spider-Man, but Spider-Man, his like the gold suit, whatever the fucking gold and black one is, I really do like that for Tom Holland. I think it's sick.
I respect it.
His blue and red though really sucks. Like his
it really does.
It's just not
I'm looking at it and it's like,
it's just not.
Is this a blue and black suit? The color grading in these movies is so awful. I can't fucking tell.
Yeah. The one with the gold, I love the gold spider outline. I think it
okay.
looks so,
okay. This
so
is
cool.
This is gonna be really mean, but bear with me here.
What's up? What do you got?
A lot of the MCU movies all look like a behind the scenes camera shot that hasn't been touched up yet.
Yeah, no, the color grading of those movies are bad. They're just bad.
Because I'm just looking at this shot of Tom Holland and it looks like a behind the scenes shot, even though I know it's from the movie.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a bummer.
It's a real bummer. It's unfortunate because it just is what they decided to do.
The lighting is so flat. I don't want to talk about this. This is depressing.
It's gonna make me sad. Are we
gonna?
And
okay. Here's my ranking. Then I'm just gonna zip
just go right in.
Through these rankings.
We're burning through time.
I'm gonna give a man the benefit of the doubt, and I'm gonna put Garfield way up here because in his performance in No Way Home,
he's great.
I liked his Spider-Man.
He's so good.
I liked his save moment where he fucking keeps her from dying when he falls. Because even not having seen the movie,
because
I know how that
know
hits.
what it is. Oh God, I love that scene. That's actually
Nina
one of my
was
favorite
vibrating next to me. I know how this flies.
No, I did. I cried in the movie theater with that. Right in the heart.
So,
shout out also for just a brief moment. Shout out to Zendaya for that. Like, are you good delivery? 10 out of 10.
Right? Because I don't like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man.
No.
His Spider-Man's fine, but there's too much Tobey Maguire and not enough Spider-Man.
I would agree.
His Spider-Man has a lot of Peter Parker in it. Flip side, I do like him more than Holland's Spider-Man now. I think Holland's Spider-Man has not aged well through his 3 movies.
I would agree with that, actually. I think it's a good take.
I think that his Peter Parker is developing fine. Fine enough that he's in my top 2 out of 3.
Of course.
But his Spider-Man is getting... And now in his next movie, I'm willing to believe his Spider-Man will get better.
Yeah.
But until he steps away from Tony's fucking shadow, I literally cannot care about him as a character right now.
No, and I think that's extremely reasonable, honestly. One of the most reasonable takes.
Since I can sit here and acknowledge that Tobey's not a great Spider-Man, you know what? Congratulations, Andrew Garfield, for winning my top Spider-Man spot somehow, even though he legitimately should not be there for me.
And yet, here we are.
I'm assuming that the list is the same for you, considering we just shat all over.
No, it's 100% going to be the same. Like down the line, exactly the same. It's just I love the way that these characters portray themselves. I think that honestly, Andrew Garfield's the best part of Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man is the thing you don't really see in No Way Home, which is that he's a fucking funny Spider-Man. Like, he's really funny. Man's got jokes and jokes and jokes and jokes. And he rolls with them very well, and his deliveries are always good. Which part of that is like the writing and like the whatever, but like...
Yeah, of course. It's not Andrew Garfield, but he still plays the role.
Yeah,
and
he plays it super well.
Like, exactly.
Yeah, I really, really, really like it. I think it's a really well done version of Spider-Man for sure. Personal fave. And then there's Miles, which I'm actually gonna agree with you. I don't feel super comfortable dropping him in here because I do think we kind of haven't gotten to see him be Spider-Man yet. We've seen him as Miles. We've seen a ton of him as Miles Morales. I just don't think we've seen hardly any of him as Spider-Man.
Now, Dan, before we wrap the episode, because we're getting mighty on there.
We're getting on time.
What is the best Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie? Can we agree it's Spider-Man 2?
Yeah, that's not even a question.
So we have Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
And Amazing Spider-Man. What are you going to call for Tom Holland? Are we going to say Homecoming?
Nah,
Far From Home? No Way Home?
I think it's got to be No Way Home. Part of it is just because I do think it is in the same way. Okay, so we can talk like super briefly about this. Avengers is at its best when it has completed its culmination of all its movies, right? If you've seen all of them, it's a completion of the culmination of all the movies. There's something very satisfying about that payoff. I do think that No Way Home hits that itch for me in terms of Spider-Man movies, because it is kind of the payoff of all the Spider-Man that came before, in a way that like kind of gives you an epilogue on all their characters. It gives you story hints and still some character development for all of them. Like, I really don't have time to do an entire fucking No Way Home review, but the fact that like they kind of hint that Andrew Garfield goes off the fucking deep end after Gwen Stacy dies is such a like sad but fascinating take on the character, that he just stops pulling his punches and starts
killing people.
Like, they don't literally say starts killing people, because I don't think they can get away with it, but like that's kind of the subtext, is that he starts killing people by accident, and not that much by accident.
Yeah, it's an intentional accident.
Yeah, exactly, and it's really sad and really, really fascinating, and I do love it a lot. But I think that the movie does a really good job of being that culmination of all three. And while I do really like Far From Home, I actually really like Far From Home. I really like the way they do Mysterio as a character, considering we don't get to see him in live action at all, because he's kind of a goofball character in a world that has real actual magic. I like that they decided, no, we're not going to make him an actual real wizard. I think that's hysterical. But yeah, no, I would definitely say No Way Home is my favorite. Actually, I would even go so far as to say it might be my favorite Spider-Man movie because of that, because it is that culmination of all of everything that came before. What about you?
No, I'll agree with No Way Home. I liked Homecoming a lot. I thought Vulture was a fun character.
Vulture is so fun.
Vulture, while being a real fun character, was too much of a Tony Stark guy.
He was kind of Tony Stark. He was evil Tony Starky.
Well, he cared too much about Tony as well. Tony's label was on every fucking thing he had ever. I didn't like it. They
did that with
Mysterio as well.
Yeah, with Far From Home, because again, fucking stop making him an Iron Man, like Iron Lad. Nobody wants. Fuck off.
No one wants
Spider-Man.
Iron Lad.
Let him be Spider-Man.
Anyway, though, I think we can agree best Spider-Man from Miles Morales into the Spider-Verse. Dan, I'm asking you
best
to rank these 4 movies.
Yeah.
To come out with our undisputed champion, because when it comes down to it,
that's all that really matters.
Peter Parking, our Spider-Manning, doesn't matter.
No, what matters is
because if their movies don't beat the other movies,
then they're bad. Clearly,
that's exactly it.
It's Spider-Man.
So shall we?
There's no world in which Spider-Verse isn't the best movie. Like, let's just get that out of the way.
The emotional arcs of Spider-Verse were really fucking good. Watching him develop as a character is really good. And I'm going to say it, the ensemble cast of Spider-Verse beats fucking No Way Home into the dirt.
Yeah.
With an identical premise.
Yeah. It's God, what a fucking golden movie. Everything about that movie is I actually have nothing bad to say about that movie, which is I feel like I'm pretty brutal now and again on movies that I'm even okay on. No, that movie is perfect.
And honestly, the ultimate reveal of Doc Ock is a woman.
Great.
Just badass. Literally being the punchline of the doctor was a woman.
It's 10 out of 10.
Very good.
Classic
Very good.
Comedy.
So now that we've established the number 1 spot, we do have 3 more spots to rank.
I'm tempted to give it to No Way Home again, just because I
could not possibly disagree more.
No, I think it's super valid. I think that, but again, to me, in my mind, it's just that culmination aspect of this is the peak of everything put together. I actually do think Spider-Man 2 is probably there, though. I think Spider-Man 2 is probably the better of the trio.
I'm glad you said it, because obviously if I said it, it would have literally just been old man loves his first Spider-Man he saw in theaters again.
And that's it. I also haven't seen it in forever, so I do feel a little guilty about giving it that.
I'm not going to lie to you. I have watched it recently. Last time I was sick, I watched Spider-Man 1 and 2.
Hell yeah, you did.
It was quite nice. Actually, let me double check how long ago. I saw them like a month and a half ago.
Amazing.
Both of them same night, back to back. But okay,
amazing.
Yeah, let's see. I'm gonna say in that case, I also agree. Spider-Man 2 hits for me. And I haven't seen Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think I gotta put.
I gotta let you rank it.
If I had seen Amazing Spider-Man in the last 3 years, I think this might be a different rating. But because I haven't seen it in so long, I think I've got to give it to No Way Home, because No Way Home is just really well put together in my mind.
What I'm hearing is, if we really wanted to be real about this,
is that Tobey Maguire's
No Way
the best
Home
Spider-Man?
probably sits in the number 2 spot for you.
Yeah.
But since you haven't watched it in long enough, it's really hard to like.
I haven't seen the other ones in long enough that it's hard. So that's hard. Yeah. I've seen No Way Home like in the last couple of years. I've rewatched that. Okay. One is
it just came out, so I would hope you've seen it in the last couple of years.
Exactly. One is Spider-Verse. 2, let's leave it at Spider-Man 2. Let's say 3. I'll put 3 as No Way Home just because I, again, have seen it more recently. And then at the bottom, unfortunately, is my favorite Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield, in The Amazing Spider-Man.
And there we are.
Is an official rating. You can take that to the bank
off the air rating that would be good until we all watch the movies again and immediately change our minds.
I'm so tempted to get Michelle to watch Amazing Spider-Man with me again.
Just it's for science. It's for science. We need to know. The people are demanding. And honestly, rude of you all to demand from us like this. We are free entertainment. You can't demand.
I mean,
but
unless you give money to the Patreon, and then you can kind of demand whatever you want.
Oh, Hi had something he wanted me to make you say like 3 weeks ago, and I did forget to do it. Quote for the pod. Dan, shortly before stomping all the babies. Oh, you can stomp them after they're dead. I thought you could only stomp them to death.
That is what I said.
And this was a Dead Space quote.
It was a Dead Space quote. Yeah.
I would like to formally on podcast apologize to Dan because I did not mention that you could attack the necromorphs' corpses to give you loot.
Nope. I did not.
I assumed you would have figured it out.
I thought you had to kill them by stomping them, and that would work.
And no, you can just body every single one of them after death for the ammo that you get. So that's my apology, and that is the insane quote that we get to have about
my
Dan.
name forever. Yep, stomping on babies.
Stomping on babies. Congratulations.
All right, Noah.
Daniel.
Thank you for thank you for manning my spider.
I'll man your spider any day. Goodbye.
Dun, 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 dun.